Welcome. Today is a very special day for us all. Today is the premiere of the fourth report of Strong Women in IT. 231 women will receive the title of Strong Women in IT, which makes 700 women globally that hold this title. So I am so grateful for all of you. And this event I will host with Małgorzata Grys, who is the Vice President of Strong Women in IT. Hello, Małgorzata.
Hello, Anita. Hi, all. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Greetings from our Warsaw studio. And let me express a huge gratitude. This is a super special moment for me. When 2.5 years ago, I was welcomed warmly on board by Anita Kijanka and the entire Strong Women in IT team, I couldn't even dream about the moment which is going on today. As stated by Anita, 231 women representing 30 countries with their amazing stories, insights, challenges, everything which you share with us is making a huge strength of this organization. Building a community is not just the act of a minute. It takes many years. Anita, 7 years ago, out of her dream to make inclusion a fact, decided to create this community and imagine a start-upper who is dreaming about making something for the world is gathering today outstanding people who are helping us to make this mission possible. Without so many of you, our partners, the advisory board and the jury, we would never be where we are. That's the moment of hope, that's the moment of pride, and that's the moment of glory for each and every of you. Having said that, I also want to greet one person. This is a very personal comment. Anita allowed me to do that. She sent me a very personal message this morning. Agnieszka Rynkowska, I greet you. Without you, with no doubt, I would never be where I am. She gave such a powerful message, knowing that this is a critical moment for us. You cannot even imagine how many strengthening and empowering messages we are getting from so many of us around us. Anita, anything else on your mind before I go with the flow?
Yes, yes. I just wanted to add that today we celebrate the hardworking, amazing women who are not hesitating, who are not afraid of changing the world with technology, who do so much every day to make to show that women can support each other, to show that women really matter, and to show that women in technology are really, really amazing and they are really strong.
We see the voices of our strong women in IT, ladies, gentlemen. So wonderful to have you with us. As stated, our strength is coming from your strength, and this is the only thing which really matters. With no further ado, stronger together. With no further ado, I have this honor to present you 3 remarkable leaders who've been with us from the beginning of our journey from the few years back. These are the people who are shaping our advisory board, who are challenging us, who are allowing and even influencing us to think big, who are giving and sharing the insights, who are always to help and support whenever we are in need. These are outstanding people who make our mission globalize and go big. This is Iza Tworzydło, the Director of Corporate Communication, BNP Paribas, Poland. Hi, Iza.
Hi, hello.
Hi, wonderful to have you with us. This is Monika Kordowska, Europe Operational Resilience Leader of Marsh McLennan. Hi, Moniu.
Hi.
And this is Paweł Jakubik, the Director, Lead of Technology and Consulting, Sales of EY in Poland. Hello, Paweł.
Hello, Małgosia. Hello, everyone.
We invited you because you know us by heart. We all decided that we will greet one more person, and I will be speaking on behalf of this community of 4. Mateusz Majewski, another member of our advisory board, who unfortunately, due to his previous commitments, couldn't join us today. Mateusz, we greet you. We know that you will be listening to us. You will have your very strong representation later on during our day. So what's on your mind? Why each and every of you is with us, so much engaged and really being present in our mission? Isa.
Thank you, Małgosia. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon once again. It is a real honor to be here today among people who truly believe in diversity and authentic leadership. From the beginning, I believed in the mission of strong women in IT because it was real, built on values that cannot be compromised: inclusivity, authenticity, and courage. What makes this initiative powerful is integrity. No shortcuts, no superficial actions, always stay true. That's why Strong Women in IT is not just a report, but a global movement with a strong backbone. And none of this would be possible without Anita and Małgorzata. Your vision, your strength, and your consistency have created something unique, something that connects us and inspire us all. I am proud to be a part of this journey. I am proud of that. Together we connect, we continue to think big and globally. Congratulations on this year's edition, and thank you very much.
Isa, that's really super touchy. There were a few key words that will stay for us for long. Integrity is such a critical meaning for us. Thank you. Thanks for everything you do and how you do for us and with us. Monika, what about you?
Thank you very much. First, let me warm welcome each and every on that webinar. I'm super happy that we are meeting at the occasion of the next and subsequent report of Strong Women in IT. First of all, I want to congratulate all the women which just showed her boldness and her initiative and decided to apply and just be present here to create this, unique and strong community. For me personally, I want to say that is a service. It's a privilege to serve as an advisory board member and just support the development and the mission of Strong Women in IT. I believe very much in that powerful community. I believe in the fact that it's good to be bold, and because this is about to be bold and about just understanding this unstoppable momentum. However, for those long-lasting impact, which is right now happening, because we want to create a long-lasting impact for the future. And all the portraits of the women from the report are totally unique. However, all together, they create such a strong power and such a strong perspective, how to look differently in the tech industry. And Strong Women in IT allows, and this is something I'm really touched very much, that we break stereotypes concerning the tech industry, that we show that there are no boundaries, how to develop your own career, how to develop yourself, how to look at the next steps you can encounter, how to embrace the change and take the risk. That's something which is really strong and powerful in the Strong Women in IT. So once again, congratulations to all the ladies and all the men supporting Strong Women in IT. Very warm and big heart to Anita and Małgosia, and to all my colleagues from advisory board. Thank you so much, and let's have a great evening today.
That's what I so much love. And thanks for everything you do. And again, how you do.
Okay.
Paweł, what's on your mind? We've got such a powerful, diverse perspective. We have 2 women and 2 men on this advisory board, purposely done. So what's coming from you?
Małgosia, thanks. First of all, thank you for inviting me and having this opportunity to say a few words. I want to start with the congrats but in a 2 perspective. One congrats, I want to say that what Monika mentioned to all participants and women who really are brave and great to be taken to the account as nominations to the Strong Women in IT report, 4th report. But secondly, I want to say big congrats to Anita and you as leaders to make this happen, to consolidate, to create the advisory board, what I am super proud to be a part of this. But I want to say a few words also to your operational part, to your colleagues, friends behind you. I know this and I strongly appreciate. I know how big operational part is to make logistic and all, I would say, paper, digital work behind this kind of report. So Guy, big respect from Big Four consultant now, yeah. So I appreciate this very, very strongly. On my perspective on the report and the current status, I want to say also that always in my professional life, I was a kind of, it's not strategy, but I would say tendency and the approach that I want to join train where train is starting from the central station, not to be on pit stop or when train is, on a huge velocity. And currently I did it. I joined Strong Women in IT almost just after the central station train left. And I see this speed and I see this acceleration. And I think that next few years, guys, it will be Hyperloop speed. I am going to Japan, by the way, next week. So this Shinkansen, I will be on this train. So I will also feel like with me strong women in IT. On the values, what Isa mentioned and Monika, I am fully on. We stand for together behind these values. No exclusion as a common fundament and technology which connect despite challenges. This is what I would also mention to see this important of the advisory board place for me, especially as a man who believes in equality. Your community, your organization appreciates different perspective which empowers their global growth. And I wanna, in the end, say only one sentence about my kids, my great daughters, adult now, where I do it also for my daughters, guys, that I am here, and I am also investing this time because my daughters whose rights for equality, and this is super critical for me. Thank you, Małgosia. Thank you all.
Paweł, again, what a touchy and personal context. One thing which you stressed, and honestly we are so proud of, and many of our strong women in IT also appreciate it, no exclusion context. We don't only invite women to shape a better world. We really need strong and powerful men to be with us and make it happen. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day and stay with us for many, many years to accelerate, as Paweł mentioned.
Thank you.
Now, I'm so honored, touched, and privileged to present to you the keynote speaker, the man whose courage is so much appreciated around. This is Przemek Gdański, the CEO and territory head of BNP Paribas, the CEO of the Polish side and the head of and the group leader in Poland. Przemek Gdański has been with us for a long time. His advocacy towards inclusion and fairness, equality in the workspace and in the social life has been so many times rewarded and recognized here in Poland and globally. Przemek Gdański brings over 30 years of his international experience in the banking and insurance industry, while he never stops. Additionally to all what he has on his head professionally on building a better and a fairer world for all of us to live in. I am so happy to present Mr. Gdański as the keynote speaker with us today, with his inclusion story, as we stated, the shaper's minds and equality in practice. Przemku, the floor is yours, and I'm so curious to listen to your story.
Małgosia, many thanks for what you've said. I certainly don't deserve all those
You
kind
do,
words
you
of
know
you.
it.
Not at all. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy, privileged to be here. I was supposed to deliver a speech at the previous event of Strong Women in IT, but unfortunately I broke my leg once while skiing and I had to cancel, so I'm happy that you had enough patience to invite me again.
We do, and we will continue, I promise you.
I've prepared a few slides to illustrate my story, so I assume you will be putting them on the screen to make my life easier. Excellent. And I think we can go to the first picture. Those are not necessarily slides with lots of facts or figures or text, but they shall help me telling you what I'd like to say. Well, first message is that diversity and inclusion is a process, and the process that has already taken many years, and clearly we are far away from being there. Why has it to be a process? Well, mainly because women did not have equal rights, the same as men, for centuries in most of the countries. If I ask you a question, in which year women gained voting rights in Liechtenstein, which seems pretty advanced? Without waiting for the answer, I can tell you it was only in 1984. In this context, Poland is one of the leaders. We provided women with full voting rights in 1918, much earlier than many other countries, including several well-developed Western democracies. Nevertheless, when it comes to introduction or rollout or evolution of DNI in Poland, we still have pretty much to do. You may see that in 93% of our counties, women earn less than men do, which is absolutely unacceptable. Over 50% of women believe that their career prospects have been hampered by the fact that they are women, which is even worse to accept. So by all means, we know we have to do a lot, continue, and actually speed up despite what's happening elsewhere. And let me have the next slide, please. Pushback. We see a clear-cut pushback, both in terms of DEI, but also in terms of sustainability. And that's pretty unfortunate. When Donald Trump took over as the next president of the United States, he started effectively combating DNI practices, banning that from the US administration, stopping funding all DNI initiatives, and even banning certain terms from the common usage in the political circles. I'll be more specific here. According to the New York Times, the list of banned words in government documents includes female, women, disability, inclusive, equality, inequality, and a few others. It's actually pretty hard to imagine that in such a great democracy as the United States, the new leader started pushing back what's been achieved in terms of inclusion, in terms of diversity. But that's a fact of life. Now, our role, our challenge, our moral obligation is to disregard that pushback and continue doing what we've been doing, what we are committed to do even more. Let's have the next picture. And there are, of course, risks of a potential retreat from diversity. Those risks are of a various nature. There are business risks. Companies that are more diverse are more successful. They are able to attract and retain talent much better than those that are not inclusive. There is a risk that women will still earn less doing the same, if not better job than men. We have the risk of glass ceiling getting stronger across the various economies. We certainly don't want that risk or those risks to materialize, and that's yet another call to action in a more determined, more disciplined way. Can I have the next one? And if we attend this event, I'm sure we are perfectly aware of clear-cut benefits of diverse societies. They are more cohesive, more equitable, more socially advanced, with less violence, more tolerance, more openness, more innovative thinking, more inclusive approach, where people feel better, where there's less stress, less pressure, less tension, potentially even less psychological issues in the society. It's so natural, it's so intuitive that for me it's beyond comprehension, imagination, why anybody, including Mr. Trump, could play against the trend to build more inclusive, more diverse societies. There are benefits, and there are also economic benefits, and thanks for highlighting the next slide. You have here a few facts. 77% of executives believe that DEI, well established, generates stronger, better financial performance. And that's quite a number. I personally absolutely believe that diverse teams are more creative, more engaged, more balanced, and ultimately they lead to stronger results of the company. 76% of employees are more likely to stay with a given employer if the employer is supporting DEI. And we know that in Poland specifically, there is a constant war for talent. We have practically no unemployment. Young generation people are very volatile and easy to switch jobs. And clearly, also from my own experience, when talking to young candidates or young employees, it's very clear they've come to work for BNP Paribas because they perceive us as a responsible, inclusive, following the ESG principles institution, not necessarily because we pay better or the job is more relaxed. It's actually quite to the contrary. So there are business reasons, financial reasons to build inclusive, diverse cultures within corporates, within companies of all kinds and all sizes. Let's have the next one. Now, that's the current situation about the participation of women in management boards. For those of you who come from primarily the Anglo-Saxon reality, the management board is the core team of an institution, of a company that collectively takes responsibility for its operations, its results, and its development. So that's the top layer of senior management, whereby members take also personal responsibility for an institution behaving properly and following all the relevant laws. And it's kind of sad picture, even though the financial sector is the leader, but only 1 out of 4 members of management boards is a female member. And if we go further down this kind of reverse pyramid, we see that in some sectors it's only 10%, and that shows that even in the business area, without the US type pushback, we have plenty of work to do. Let's face the reality. The number of men and female is give and take equal. Subsequently, ultimately, there should be as many female as well as male members of senior management of the various companies. There is no reason why male should dominate the scene in that respect. Let's have the next one. Now, let me move to our case. But before I do so, let me tell you what I truly believe in. Diversity, equity, and inclusion should be part of the business strategy of every company. We did that when formulating our strategy that is still valid till the year end back in 21. We created one of the 4 pillars that we call Together, and within that pillar, we set ourselves specific goals related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you see those goals that we actually went public with on this screen. I'll tell you later how we've done as regards those targets. Bank of mindful decisions. Let's move on. That's what we often say, that's how we are. Let me start with the culture. We are a very unique case of an institution that was created through a series of mergers, acquisitions, lengthy and painful integration processes. The last one we completed in 2021 after having acquired the core activities of Raiffeisen Bank, which was the biggest acquisition BNP Paribas has done ever in Poland. When the smoke has settled down, what I realized was that my colleagues were still thinking in terms of their previous employers who've been merged, acquired to form what we were back then. And I couldn't actually stand stories like, in Raiffeisen, it was so great because we did this and that. In BGZ, which was another bank acquired in 2014, we used to do things in the following manner. In Fortis Bank, So there was no common denominator. So we emerged with a process of redefining or defining our culture that would unite all the colleagues. And the key component of that culture was the selection of core values that we have defined in a bottom-up process and only fine-tuned and defined at the management board level. And now those values are well embedded into the DNA of the organization, into the way people think, people act, and they are oftentimes used to correct one's behavior because that's the goal of the values, to help us operate in a certain very clear-cut way and to invoke the values whenever we have doubts what to do next or how to behave. Now, I showed you the goals, and I'm happy to tell you that at present, in our management board, 3 out of 8 members are female colleagues. And I cannot tell you more, but I'd like you to carefully observe our market communication the next months, because when it comes to this ratio, well, we still have a bit to do to reach what my desire has always been. The good news is that in our supervisory board, or the board of directors, as you wish, 50% of the members are female and 50% are men. When I started in the bank, I joined the bank towards the end of 2017. In 2018, our management board was consisting of 10 men, and in our supervisory board, out of 12 members, we had a single female member. So I believe, and I'm pretty proud of it, that we've made a pretty solid progress in reaching greater diversity among the top leadership of the bank. And as I said, will continue. It wasn't an easy journey. The board that I was managing back then had 10 members, including myself. There are only 8 of us, and the proportions are materially different. But the good news is that we are not the only bank who's made such progress, who's emerged on a journey to reconfirm, to re-emphasize that the world is a diverse place and that everyone should have equal chances to succeed, to get elevated, to get promoted, and to be fully satisfied with their career. Next, please. In our bank, we have several employee networks, and effectively, each of those is about supporting and promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, though in slightly different dimensions. What's very important is that each of those networks was created on a bottom-up basis. It's never been the case that I went down and said to the people, hey, why don't you create an initiative supporting women in business? Not at all. What my and my board colleagues' role has always been was to support those networks, make ourselves available, to listen to their ideas, their needs, help them adjust the course, help them realize their plans, ambitions, and strategies. And here we have 6 networks portrayed. One of them, Women Changing BNP Paribas, is the largest and the most active, and also the oldest in the bank. And it's pretty impressive, even touching, to see so many great female colleagues being totally active in that network next to their professional duties. And the way they operate has provided plenty of help to other colleagues, not only female actually, because since last year, men are also welcome in the network as long as they are clear-cut supporters of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, a long time ago, we started communicating our belief in DEI through marketing campaigns. This one, I couldn't find an English version, but basically, back then, even under the previous name of the bank, we ran a campaign, why there are no women on banknotes or notes. And in fact, that was what we concluded doing a bit of analysis, that there are no women on Polish money, even though we had many great women, famous, well-respected domestically and internationally. So we were provoking the universe with this very question, even though back then the participation of women in the top leadership of the bank was pretty scarce. And I remember that I was getting questions from various sources, including the media, why on earth we were running such a campaign when we were far away from being the role model. And my answer was, we have enough courage to do it. We know we have a long way to go, but I'm absolutely certain we'll get there, and the reality proves that has exactly what happened. That's another campaign that we launched, which was quite controversial, but very interesting. The basic idea is embedded in the questions. Where are our patronesses? The basic idea is this. Every school in Poland has a patron or patroness. The research showed that in 90% it was men, and in very few isolated cases, women were the patronesses of schools, and many schools had no patron or patroness at all. So what we said as part of the campaign was the following. Dear school, pick a woman whom you would like to be your patron, will support you preparing that, will guide you how to do it well. We can also support you financially. So ultimately, instead of having no patron, you will have a proper, famous, well-respected female patroness of your school. Again, it was widely commented. Many schools have followed on this initiative, and I believe that we help the society understanding how diversity, equity are important. Next one, please. That's another one. We have been very active in promoting feminine. In Polish, it's feminatywy. In English, it will be feminine forms. So in Poland, practically all job positions were defined for men. And we started creating words that would mean the same, but be adjusted grammatically for women. Not done before, initiated by ourselves. Now there's a big public debate because some of those words sound a little strange. And my response has always been, they sound strange because they are new. The same word for men sounds perfectly acceptable because we've heard it for decades. So let's simply get used to the feminine form of various words and let's use those in our language. Let's have the last slide, which is a kind of a summary. These are the 5 steps to achieve diversity. By myself, of course, there are different ways, but let me very briefly go through them. First, we need to understand what causes the problem. And that could be analyzed at the country level, but also at an individual company level. Why we are not diverse? Let's understand. Then, if we are committed to move forward, let's define measures of success. We did it in our strategy launched in 2022. We've exceeded our targets. We are not happy yet. We'll go further, but clearly there should be measures of success. Of course, it takes commitment of the business leaders, which is obvious. I believe it doesn't require any debate, but those business leaders have to promote the way of thinking among their peers, their colleagues, and finally to the whole organization. Solutions can be different depending on the context, depending on an industry, depending on the stage of maturity of a company. So here a proper plan should take those elements into account. And then finally, as we go along, we should monitor the progress and we should adjust the course whenever applicable, whenever relevant, because one size doesn't fit all and the world is changing, as we are talking at the beginning about the pushback in the United States. I believe there is only one way: full diversity, full inclusiveness and equity. And I believe that businesses and business leaders could be and should be the front runners of that very important change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Przemek,
Can't
for
hear
this.
you, Anita.
Oh, yeah, now you can. Now you should hear me. Can you hear me right now?
I'm sorry. I think you are on mute.
Now, can you hear me right now? No?
I still can't hear you.
Yeah, maybe right now. Can you hear me?
No.
It should
Doesn't
be.
work. I'm sorry.
Let me check something. Okay, so now you should hear me. Can you hear me right now? No, you cannot hear me? Okay, so we have a technical problems. So Przemek, I on behalf of a Strong Women and IT team, I need to thank you right now. I made some notes connected to your speech, that day is a process, and I'm sorry that you cannot hear
Honestly,
me, but
I don't hear you at all. So, I
Yes.
hope I'll get the feedback on
Later.
some other occasion.
Absolutely.
But certainly, it's a bit difficult to talk to
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
people whom I don't
Przemek.
see. I don't see the reaction. So I have no idea if I wasted 20 odd minutes of your time or whether you found it quite interesting.
It's
Thumbs
okay.
up is a good message. Thank you very much. And thanks a lot
Yeah,
for having invited
this
me
is a
here.
technology and this is a live event. So we have to understand that sometimes technology do not support us and we have to act as we can. So ladies and gentlemen, that was an amazing speech which showed us that to implement today's strategy is not so easy task, that you have to be consistent, you have to understand that the market is changing and constantly think out of the box, look for different campaigns, look for different angles that we can communicate. And let's now move to another keynote speaker, Andrea Baciu. She is an amazing woman. She is the Chief Culture Officer in UiPath, a leading global process automation company. And what is important, she demonstrated a commitment to diversity and inclusion through her active role since 2021 as a member of Romanian Diversity Chamber of Commerce. Last time I saw Andrea's speech, I ended up crying. I hope that today you won't have so much time to make us cry, but definitely empathy is something that resonates with Andrea, is like the word that I can say that when I think Andrea Baciu, I think empathy. So Andrea, without further ado, the stage is yours, and the title of your speech is Connected Leadership, right?
Yes, it is. Too kind to me, really, too kind to me. No intention to make anybody cry unless there are tears of laughter, which I always welcome. Hello, everyone. It's really such an honor to be with you today at the premiere of the Strong Women in IT Global Edition report. I really want to thank Anita and Malgosia and the entire team for creating, I believe, not only a report, but really a space for a real connection. I say hello also to my colleagues. I saw them in the chat. I could see some of my former colleagues, some of my current colleagues, and who knows, maybe some of my future colleagues. If you are interested to join the company, it's really a great space in which most of us, most of the time, feel we belong. We've just heard from Przemek about inclusive leadership, and I could not agree more for the space that we are in today, but also because inclusion, I believe, is not a policy or a target. It's actually what we do every single day. And today, that's exactly what I would like to talk to you about, what I call perhaps connected leadership. But if you find a different meaning to it, whatever works for you, that connects the you who you are every single day as a human being into what you do in the leadership space with your teams and with your colleagues. Later, after me, I believe Alexandra will take us even further into the conversation about feminism and impact. So my role in the next 10 minutes is really to bridge between inclusion and impact. And within that space, I would love to share with you how connection in leadership makes both possible, inclusion and impact for yourself and your teams. So I have 4 messages for today. Actually, it's 1 realization and 3 messages. The realization really starts with the fact that in my 27 years, I will be 47 in 3 weeks. In my 27 years of work, I've seen this reality changing. So 1 message I have with you, this realization that I mentioned, is the fact that leadership has changed. So that's the first realization. If we can move further, that would be great. That's the realization which I welcome you to actually challenge. If you believe this has not changed, or if you believe that in the place you are in, things are the same, please let us know. But if you agree with me, I welcome you to put it in the chat so we can have a little bit of a reality check with those of you connected with us today. So this is realization. We'll spend a couple of minutes on it. And then the 3 messages I have further, it really has to do with the work I believe we need to do internally with our own being and how this shows up in the workplace environment. And we'll get to that shortly. But the realization really, it's about these insights that I felt in the workplace for a long time. And it has to do with how leadership is not anymore about control. We are not on this slide yet. I'm still with the leadership has changed. So please, Justina, if you can stay right there with me a little bit, and I will lead you when to change the slide. Thank you much. Not here, the first slide, which was leadership has changed. Yes, here you go. Thank you so much. So I was sharing with you how I believe, but you tell me if I'm wrong or if you believe you agree with me, how leadership is not anymore about control. This is how it used to be. This is how I grew up with in the workplace dynamics about 27 years ago. Titles matter a lot. Hierarchy matters a lot. Being the one that has all the answers would qualify you as being in the right manager role or leadership role or country manager role or whatever big role you were in back then. And I've lived through that. I lived through organizations and departments where perfection was the standard. But I genuinely feel in the last 5 years that things have changed. I think many of us here have felt this shift. People are no longer following titles. They really follow people. They follow presence. They have this button, almost an invisible one, on which is written, sorry about my English, bullshit. And when they hear it talked in people's messages, they kind of push it and they switch off. And we feel that every day. We see how they follow leaders who are human first. And it's about who they are in the workplace, not what is written on their business card. So this favorite quote that I have from Simon Sinek, who I believe is one of those that saw the change in the leadership context, and he's writing a lot about it. He's talking about, and I'll be a little bit more slower so you can really comprehend the quote. He talks about how leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. Let me say that again. Leadership is not about being in charge. It is about taking care of those in your charge. You see how it changes a little bit the mindset we approach leadership? And just a personal example, when I think about this in my own career, I remember my time abroad. I'm currently based in Bucharest, but I was away from home for about 7.5 years. I worked in the US, in Poland. I have my friends there. My second baby girl was born there, Sofia. She will be 14 soon, and she was born in Warsaw. And we also spent some time in the UK. And I was still young in my leadership journey, and I thought I needed to prove myself to show I could perform across different cultures. But what I learned is that people didn't connect it to me because I was perfect. They connected with me when I showed I am imperfect, and when I showed I'm curious, and when I listened more than I talked, when I admitted I don't know. That's when the true connection was built, and when the trust was built between me and those people that welcomed me in those different countries. So I'm curious to see how it is for you. Do you think leadership has changed? And if yes, how? Have your answers in the chat, and as soon as I finish here, I will make sure I'll answer those. Thank you, Justina. Now we are getting along well. You found my cue there. So yes, the message about starting with you has to do with this culture that you build around yourself, right? Is the culture that you emanate because of who you are and because of the behaviors that you have, and sometimes because of the things that you do, but most of the time because the way you behave and what you do. And when I joined the company I am today, which is UiPath, that happened 6 years ago, the company was really growing fast. We were growing from, I think, 300 people to 1,000 people in just 1 year. And we were on the way to IPO. And I had to step into big leadership shoes. Our previous CPO, his name is Marius Estrada, an amazing leader. He led from a place of courage and fearless, and he was the one to take the company for 300 people and to 1,000 people. And when you follow those big shoes, the temptation is for me to become a perfect leader, as I thought he was. And that perfect leader was, in my head, the sum of my previous great leaders, right? Just to mention a few: Serjan Mioszkowicz, Angela Krecu, Hristomanov, Agnieszka Romanchuk from Poland, maybe some of you know her, Donna Hurley, Marc-André Tosinio. These are all people that came, by the way, from many different cultures. So we have a Serbian, a Romanian, a Bulgarian, a Polish woman, an Irishman, and a French. And imagine the stress of the stress in my head and in my whole being of trying to emulate somebody else. Every time I tried to fit into that mold, it backfired. Although they were great leaders and they were amazing human beings, but they were not me and I was not them. So I offer you this thought around experiencing with yourself and really trying to get into this self-awareness mode and check in with yourself. Who are you? And know that authenticity builds trust over time, and that vulnerability unlocks real connection. And if you allow yourself this space to be with you and learn who you are, in time, you will get comfortable and you will find that really good spot of realizing who you are. I remember one town hall where I admitted live in front of thousands of people, not that many, about 2,000 people. So you could argue it's not that many. Still, for me, it was a moment. I admitted that I didn't have all the answers. And the surprising thing was that instead of losing credibility, I gained it. People leaned in, because what they wanted from us is not perfection. They want presence. And right there, and then I admit it, I don't know. And they lead me. So that's message one. Message number two has to do with the inner work of leadership. Justina, if you want to click to the next slide. Well, some reflection prompts for you to consider and answer some of those questions. Maybe you already know the answer to some of them. Maybe you are in the quest of discovering the others. But really, it's about this finding path of who you are, listening to yourself, which I believe doesn't come without struggle. Leadership is really not about strategy and results all the time. Yes, they play a part, but really it's about the inner work that you want to do with you in a moment in time, so you feel more connected with who you are, but also connected with the work that you do and the people you are doing that work with. So for me, one of those toughest moments was during a big transformation project at Avon. By the way, Sylvia Bilska, who will follow my speech, not immediately, but you will hear from her. She also was my previous colleague. I believe that when I was in the US, she was the Central and Eastern European marketing head for Avon, if I'm not mistaken. Then back then, I was responsible for leading change across multiple markets. with the main pilot project in Canada. And I was working with people from all over the world. They were people from Brazil to Japan, Korea, Germany, Poland, Spain, and many other countries in Europe. But my thinking and my contribution was around, flow charts and frameworks and project plans and flawless execution and Deloitte methodology. It was all about the content that we have to put out there to manage change. However, I very quickly realized the real work was inside me and not outside of me. It was more about managing myself and my emotions and being open to understand and listen, about cultural similarities, cultural differences, where would they come from, where do I want to meet them so we can meet at the middle. And to be honest, even today, I learn this every single day. I'm still learning that lesson. Right now, I'm in year 3 for my PhD study in strategic management. And it's very humbling. I've been a practitioner for about 30 years in leading teams and designing culture. But now, in front of my academic paper, I often feel like I'm a beginner again, not easy. So I need to ask for help. I need to learn how to think in new ways. I need to let go of my ego. And it's very, very humbling to be back in school and start with different concepts. This is what I believe being a lifelong learner. And with this mindset of lifelong learner, your journey around inner leadership about who you are could start. You are a voice. You are not just a role. You are the voice of yourself, and you could be the voice of others. And last but not least, the last message I have for you, it has to do with the culture. And the culture, not necessarily organizational culture, but the culture that it's felt around you, right? With the people that you work with. And here are some questions for you to consider. Do you think the people that they are very close to you, they feel seen by you? Do you create that environment in which they can speak up and they feel safe in speaking up? Do they believe that they matter to you when you make decisions about them or about the company or the team or the product you are in charge? This is the culture that I think it's worth putting some thought into, and it has to do with your own leadership style and how do you connect yourself and how do you bring you forward in the workplace that you lead. I've also seen this deeply in my work with the UiPath Foundation. That's why I'm proudly wearing the t-shirt. We work with children from vulnerable backgrounds here in Romania. And I'm doing this work with them for about 5 years now. And our firstborn girl, Becca, who is 19 now, has been doing her work for the last 5 years with the foundation. And actually, it changed so much her perception about life that her choice of university came out of this work that we were doing with these amazing children. And I will never forget sitting with a group of them, listening to their dreams. One of them wanted to be an engineer and another one wanted to be a teacher. And I have them in my mind. They were 2 girls. And what struck me was not the dreams themselves, but the sparkle in their eyes when they realized that that someone was me and my daughter, believed in them. That moment of connection of teary eyes connected, the spark that they got because they saw the belief we had in them, and then the spark we got because they caught that in that moment was amazing. And it was only because in that moment of connection, they felt seen, valued, and somebody believed in them. And that can change a life. It did change my life forever. It changed Becca's life as we speak. And I trust it changed those 2 beautiful girls' life because somebody believed they can be an engineer and they can be a teacher. And it reminded me that culture is really the ultimate proof of how people feel around you. So in my closing message, it's simple, I think. That's my last slide for you today. It's really start with you, and the results will follow. That's where real leadership begins. Belonging is built when people feel safe to be themselves. And I genuinely think that in today's place, especially in the workplace, it's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's really about creating rooms and spaces where everyone feels they belong. And this is what I had for you today. Connected leadership is human leadership. I genuinely believe that is the bridge between inclusion and impact. And when we practice it, we don't just change our teams, we change the culture. We empower communities, which is exactly what Anita and Malgorzata do for us today and always. So thank you.
Andrea, every time I listen to you, I am really touched. And I don't say it because it's nice to say it. All what you stated and so many situations from the last months, weeks, what's going on around, I think should be so visible in the world. Connected leadership and belonging is when people feel safe. They could be whom they are.
True.
And you demonstrate it every day. We know it, we know you for years, but what you stated now, you added also this context of self-awareness, which I think is so critical, not only for our audience, not only for the strong women in IT, but I think for every leader, and it's a must. I'm talking to many women who are with us, who are sometimes struggling with this context, with the leaders they report to. So I think this is a common mission of this community to influence the status quo and influence the ones who sometimes forget that leadership is about serving, caring, and giving people a space to be in a safe mode. Thank you so much.
No, very well said, Malgorzata. Thank you so much. Before I leave, I have a message from my colleague, Mateusz. I know he's an unbelievable supporter of strong women in IT. He could not be with you today, but he passed over this message. If you allow me to read it. So he is saying that being a member of the advisory board of Strong Women in IT comes from my belief that diversity and equal opportunities in technology create stronger and more resilient organization and a better future. As a father of 2 daughters, I want to actively support an environment where they can grow, develop, pursue their ambitions without limitations. And through my Strong Women in IT engagement, I support building a space where future generations of women in tech can fully realize their potential. Diversity is powerful. Very well said, huh?
Very well said and very true. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a great advocate of Mateusz. He will be happy, even not being here physically. Thanks a lot, Andrea. And with no further ado, we know that we have a bit of a delay. Please forgive us. But seeing your comments, we are super happy to see that you are still with us. And please get engaged because more outstanding people are joining us today. This is the live event, as Anita stated, and sometimes we might have some surprises. With no further ado, I'm honored again and privileged to welcome on stage the activist, the author, the journalist, the director of Ringer Axel Springer Foundation, the person whose courage is very well known across the boards, Aleksandra Karasińska, with her impactful speech. By the way, this is the book which is just being promoted. Why is feminism paying off? Olu, it's such an honor to have you with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Małgosia. Hi, you all. I'm very happy to be here, and I'm grateful, Małgosia and Anita and Justina and the whole team for the invitation. It's, I was listening to Andrea a moment ago, and she said something about spark and connections when she was talking to those young girls. And I hope even that we are online, that we will have this spark and connection today with us. So thank you, Małgosia. I'm starting to tell you about, she mentioned I just published a book. The book is called Why Feminism Pays Off. So thank you, Justina. Maybe I will switch to operate the slides. So I will tell you something about feminism that I was studying for last 2 years, and that's what my book is about. So we often hear that feminism is a war between sexes, that either men win or women win, that our social life is a zero-sum game. But I don't support this point of view. In fact, when you look at economic numbers, when you look at research about, like, when you really study economy, you see the opposite, that the feminism, the equality, it benefits us all. And not in a general way, but in a very concrete, economical way. Look at the number. For example, I published one of the studies that is by McKinsey. Achieving parity with men would increase global growth by 26%. It's just huge. It's a staggering number, given that average global growth is between 2.5 and 3%. And when you look at the pay gap, if we treated women in work fairly, if we were paying women enough, equally as their colleagues, closing the pay gap by 2060, it could bring the OECD countries, so the richest, the most democratic countries in the world, average growth of almost 10%, or 9.2%. And this is the research, very recent paper, OECD, Road to Gender Equality. So you see the numbers are behind us. Look at the invisible work that women are doing. We often, men and women also, ignore and overlook in modern approach to economy and the role of women in societies, the women's unpaid work. And when I was reading a book, very delightful and informative, if you want to look at it, please do, Professor Ha-Jung Chang, Edible Economy. It's really a delight to read. So Professor Chang is an economist who specializes in institutional economics and development, and he works in Cambridge University. So what he found out and what he published in his book, that women globally do 70 to 75% more home and care work than men. And if we value this work on market value, on global scale, it would constitute 30 to 40 GDP globally. Also, I also look what Dr. Shahira Razavi, economist and expert of UN Women, said. And she gave a great example of the same problem, very illustrative. So in case of Switzerland, when you look at the Swiss economy, one of the richest countries in the world, there are studies that show that annual value of unpaid work by women is almost as large as the value generated by entire banking and insurance sectors. As you know, Switzerland is famous from these businesses and sectors. So it's a huge impact on economy. I also want to quote another great economist, and she is really renowned Nobel Prize winner, Professor Esther Duflo. Esther Duflo is a French-American economist, professor at MIT, and she was awarded Nobel Memorial Prize in Economy in 2019. And in her work, she shows there is a dual relationship between women's empowerment and economic growth. So on one hand, development, economic development itself reduces gender equality. So it helps women, but it's not enough to achieve equality. There are evidence, on the other hand, that discrimination against women hinders economic development. So it really puts the economy and everybody's, worse of it. So there is a proof in her work, Nobel Prize winner economist, that discrimination against women really hinders development for everybody. And I want to show you the cover of the Economist magazine, very famous one, probably the famous in the world, Economic magazine. And I was really shocked in a positive way. And I remember this cover and the title, Why Nations That Fail Women Fail. It was a cover from 2021. And when I read the article, the journalists, they based their article on research and data by 3 American scientists, Valerie Hudson, Donnie Lee Bowen, and Perpetually Leanne Nielsen. So these 3 women, these 3 scientists, they gathered the data from 176 countries, and they compared the unequal treatment of women and the state and stability and security of the states of the countries. So what they found out that unequal treatment of women in family, in property law, underage marriage, polygamy, bride prices, preference for sons, violence against women, social acceptance of rape and violence. This, what they called patriarchal index. So the higher the patriarchal index, the greater instability in given country. What they found out, what it translates to, is that patriarchy goes hand in hand with poverty, short life expectancy, low food security, and poor access to medicine and education for everyone. So I also wanted to point out, and I think it's important, that what this research and the study shows, that the oppression of women indirectly also harms men. It's very important to remember. So concluding, finally, I want to tell you that I think, and I stated, and I try to give extensive examples, that discrimination is a waste, that we know from many numerous global studies that diverse teams are more creative and innovative, that board of directors that are mixed, gender mixed, and are diverse make better and more ethical decisions. And finally, a thought that I want to leave you with, that we all know that we are living in times of crises, of multi-crises. Somebody told me that it's age of disruption. We know it we hear this phrase, age of disruption, very often. This is a very uncertain word because of the climate change, because of technology revolution, and this disrupt our economy, but also democracy. That global trade, global order is disrupted. And during those times, we really need all the talent to solve these problems, not just half of the population, not 50% of the talent. So what I want to tell you is, I want to leave you with a quote from a reporter and feminist, Cheryl Devon. There are no women's problems. Women are not a problem. Women are the solution. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm looking for your comments, by the way. I was hoping that you will send me, you can shoot me a message on LinkedIn. You can shoot me a message here on comments. Małgosia, I hope I was on time.
You were, Ola, you did so well. Thank you so much. You even a bit accelerated. So I love what you stated. Even if a couple of comments and data points, which are critical for us and our community as a whole, were so important and sometimes negative, right? But we don't want to say it's beautiful if it really isn't. So what you stated, women are not a problem, women are the solution. And with this, Ola, I wish to thank you so much. I know that you are really on the road, so even more important that you accepted our invitation and shared what's coming. I keep my fingers crossed that I'm sure many of us for your amazing book. And we hope to see this one. You and I had a chat. We wish to see it one day in English. Thank you so much, Ola.
Thank you. Bye.
Now it's time to welcome the three outstanding people, the ones who've been so active with us for many years. We told you that one of the core gremia which are making our mission possible is our jury. You will see the names of the jury members. This is a truly international society. We asked a few of them to speak up and share their story on inclusion today in the context of what we also noticed in our reports, which, by the way, will be published just after our event finishes, and each of you will be able to take your one-pager, enjoy it, and share with the world. So let me introduce the members of our jury, this time three of them. Kinga Piecuch, the managing director of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise in Poland. And one disclaimer, Kinga almost lost her voice. She's going through laryngitis. Still, she decided that it's such an important event that she will answer at least one critical question, and then she will leave us as she really is struggling. Kinga, thank you so much. I really know that it's hard, and I know that it's a bit painful for you. So much appreciated that you are with us. Let me introduce Michelle Tower, the Global Senior Director of Procter & Gamble, Transitional IT Director of Data and Analytics. Welcome, Michelle. Good morning to you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon to us. And last but not the least, Karol Mazurek, Managing Director of Accenture Financial Services in Poland.
Hello, welcome.
So, dear jury members, when we talk about inclusion, what's coming to your minds? How do you really look at it? What's your definition? When we were going through all of these discussions, there were a couple of contexts that you were really bringing on the table as far as your opinion here is concerned. So, Kinga, let's start with you. What really does the inclusive leadership mean to you?
Mm-hmm. So first of all, thank you very much for invitation, and please forgive me, as Małgosia, you said, but I still want to apologize for these circumstances. So, when you ask such a broad question, I have a very natural, very authentic answer, or something what is beating in my heart is just very short phrase, and it's not any quote, it's just coming from myself, which is extremely simple. Is just be together, work together, talk together. So with, not only together, but also with different people in a different ecosystem, in a different environment. So really to support this diversity aspect from many, many angles. Yes, I'm sorry for saying so straightforward and maybe in so simple way, but sometimes we try to I try to maybe find very special sentences or something what is really simple and should come not only from a logic, not only from a brain, but also from the heart. That's my personal perspective. But of course, we can practice this at home. We can practice this with different people we know privately. But definitely our role as leaders is also to practice this and implement such behaviors, such approaches, such attitudes internally at our work as a professionalist, yes? So now looking from a perspective of a leader, but also from a tech perspective, I want to say that technology companies is a place which is very much dominated by people who are very much strongly focused on technology. We have a lot of programmers, we have a lot of data scientists, we have a lot of different solution architects, yes? So we have a lot of engineers. So I can say that in my career, 70% of the people, they used to play this role and they are on such positions. Additionally, to this group of people, we have people who are working in marketing, in communication, in HR, and in sales. I have to say that naturally what is coming to our mind is that these are a little bit different skills. These are a little bit different personalities which can play these roles. So it is naturally for us that we have to build very inclusive environment and to find a way how these people with a different mindset, with a different skills, with a different way of communication, they should work together. And this is the question which I started to ask myself already in 2000 when I started to work in high tech and started to manage technology companies. And I asked myself how I can work better with such a different personalities, with such a different characters. So now answering for this question, after more than 25 years experience, I have to say that the most important aspect is to be authentic and communicate openly, to really communicate what is needed, what every single individual needs to be understood better, but also to be able to communicate to each other better. We as a leader, we have to listen to this. We have to be very careful. Me as a young leader, I was not so sensitive regarding this topic. I was running as a hell, doesn't matter to whom I was talking, to programmers, data scientists, or sales. My communication used to be the same. That was wrong. This is not inclusive approach. So when I'm older now, I understood absolutely later, not at the beginning, how crucial communication aspect is and this authenticity is. That's point number one. Point number two, we cannot work in silos in these different groups. We have to work together across the whole organization. We have to build interdisciplinary teams, interdisciplinary projects that we engage different skills. We have engaged people with different attitudes and approach to work together. So it will help also us to build much more efficient and, much better organizations, I would say. So that's the second aspect. The third aspect, we have to give feedback. That's very important. To be inclusive for me is to be able and capable to give feedback with respect to each other, of course, to the people who does not present such approach. That we are learning, but also our colleagues who I believe they sometimes have something to address, they also need to hear this feedback to be able to work much better in this diverse environment. So that's the third point. And now when I'm thinking about the fourth and last one, which should be very close to my heart, is to hire very diverse people. Not only very diverse, but also very often much better from ourselves, much better from us as leaders, I think, because we can learn much more from them. So it's also extremely important from that perspective to be able to understand our own weaknesses to hire people who can help us to grow, because this is also something what I'm calling very inclusive approach. There are probably much more points and much more ideas I would love to share with you, which today is not possible. That's the 4 which are coming directly from myself.
Thank you. Thank you, Kinga. This is indeed a super broad perspective, like, you know, your reflection over the past 24, 25 years. And I'm sure that Michelle and Carol will add something which is really on their minds. So, Michelle, how do you look at inclusion, or rather inclusive leadership? What's on your mind? What's the most important thing that you think is a non-negotiable in your story?
You know, it's hard to probably pick one, as Kinga illustrated. It's a potpourri of things, but I think I've had one key learning through my career around inclusion, and that is this notion of unconscious bias, and that we all have it to some degree with different cultures, different genders, these types of things. And the most important thing for all of us as leaders to do is to educate ourselves in those many different styles and cultures, and focus on outcomes, not how people get things done. Different approaches people take, whether they're balancing work life with the family and children, may mean for a different type of day than a traditional, you know, workplace day. And how they get things done, if done well and exceptional, should be equally as recognized in how things happen. And so I think just the mere, you know, education, opening the floor, recognizing different styles, different cultures, and inviting those things to happen and to be okay and to be included into our leadership rooms, the boardroom, the discussions, people having a seat at the table, and learning from those is a great way to enhance our overall leadership effectiveness.
So you had this constant learner's perspective, right, from both angles. And I think this is so well corresponding with the context that Kinga brought on this constant feedback, right, one to another and across teams, because this gives us a fuel to get better and be a better leader or be a better team player.
That's right.
Carol.
Feedback, mentoring, all of that.
Carol, what's on your mind? How do you look at it from your broad perspective as well?
Well, the first thing that is on my mind is that actually I dream about the world in which we would not have to discuss this diversity and inclusion, because it's so obvious that it should be everywhere. Because, you know, from the psychological point of view, we tend to gather around us people who think in similar way than we do, who have a similar view to on the world, and it's safe, it's secure from the psychological point of view. But if you want to innovate, it's damaging the innovation. I mean, for those who know me personally, they probably know that I'm a big fan of music. So if I can imagine a group of classically trained people who all their life heard nothing but the classical music, the probability that they will compose a heavy metal banger is zero. So basically, we need in our leadership team, but also in our creative teams, people with different backgrounds, different experiences, different points of view, different cultures, because otherwise we will keep on repeating the same patterns. And in the world, I mean, a lot has been said already, especially the IT world, which is a world of disruption. It changes very quickly. We need to be adaptive. We need to think the ways to sail through this ocean of changes. Then we need people with different ideas. We need people with different point of views, and we can't, just gather wild males with the same experience in the room, because they will come up with the ideas that they know for ages. And as we are discussing, the Strong Women in IT report, then if we talk about inclusion in diversity in context of women, I mean, my experience is that the presence of women in the team brings culture, brings inclusion, and brings values. Yeah, so basically, we start to discuss our goals more widely, and we add additional points of view to the product that we are working on. So from my perspective, I mean, saying that we need inclusion and diversity in a space which relies on innovation, it's like stating the obvious. And still, we are not there. I mean, one of the, for me, most difficult findings from the report is that, for example, basic things like salaries gap still exist. Yeah. Is equally big or even bigger in, let's say, small organizations like startups, which I expected to be more merit-based and more progressive from this point of view. So we still have a lot of work to do, but it's like having diverse and differently thinking people in the team. For me, it's like having the air in the room. I mean, we have to have it.
Thank you so much, Carol. I see that Kinga and Michelle are commenting also on the chat that we have created internally for the studio. And you should know that these jury members have been together for the last, I think, 2.5 months. You brought, Carol, a critical context that in reality, in 21st century, we should rather not, or we wouldn't like to pick this context of inclusive leadership, because if the world was ideal, everything was working smoothly. Unfortunately, and I think, Justyna, you can also share a couple of contexts, we see that inclusion in terms of equal payments for the same job, as Carol mentioned, and we had a very hot discussion, you should know it, with the jury a couple of weeks ago, is still not the fairest context across genders, even in IT. More than 40% of women in both corporations and startups still see it as a kind of a pain. So we won't be taking a lot of time, but I'm really super happy that you brought this aspect, because it's so much of work in front of us, not only our jury, the leaders globally, but each of us, the members of this community. So one of the reasons why we exist together is that we are not going to allow the status quo, which is not adequate, which we disagree with. And this is one of the contexts that we really want to bring to this community. Of course, as Kinga mentioned, let's do it in a respectful way. Let's continue the feedback in a proper way. While the second thing, which I really want to pay but in really short words from you, short sentences, your attention to, that our strong women in IT are sharing that sometimes, or quite often, they are overwhelmed by the technology pace. We also had a lively discussion with the jury. As much as they do love the technology, they make the decisions based on the available data. They have different data sources. They are proud innovators. Still, at the same moment, they are struggling with the technology pace. So really, one question to each and every of you. How do you make sure, as the global leaders of technology streams, that you stay connected, but you really don't ruin what is important for you in life? Do you have any golden recipe, if ever the one exists, to help you to stay connected, but also focus on the things within your work-life integration which make your day? Michelle, I will start with you. A quick one.
Sure. No, for me, I literally block an entire day on my calendar and give myself a learning day. It is just as much a part of my business day as, providing some output, is upskilling myself. And I very much try to stay ahead of the trends. Working in a data and analytics space, you cannot survive the next day without upskilling and learning the what is next and applying it. And I use the framework: learn one, do one, lead one. And that way I keep myself on this pace of how can I lead if I'm not doing it myself or learning about something new. And then I bring this to my team as well.
Thank you so much. Learn one, do one, and lead one. Yeah. Well, fabulous. Thank you so much. I take it for me and move it further. Kinga, what about you?
So I'm not sure if I understood properly your question. So please forgive me if my answer is a little bit going into different direction. So maybe two aspects. One, what Michelle, you said, I really love it. Thank you for saying. I think that when we look on the technology, then we are always repeating in technology that there is one thing which is 100% sure is a change, yes, which is going around in every single aspect. Carol, you mentioned this. Michelle, you mentioned this also during one of our meetings. And we have to be ready for this change. We really have to be ready. And it means for us that we need to be agile in learning process. We need to be curious. We need to build curiosity among our teams, among our people. Curiosity from different angles, not only from technology, but also to read books, to have very interesting discussion about movie, about the theater, different aspects of learning in our professional and private life. That's extremely important, and I love it. But the question which you asked, Małgosia, was associated, on my side with the following thing. As a leader, I'm working in technology. As a leader and working with my partners and with my customers and with my team, we offer technology solutions. And how I understood what you asked for is how to have this life, without the technology, how not to bias.
Or with technology, but under a controlled context.
Yes, so exactly. So what I'm telling always to my people, there are two things which are obvious, and I think that everybody who is in this call thinking about this. When we are building the solution, things about all biases can happen, but also to be much more aware. Don't forget about what is really important in our life. We are building every single week, every single month, the community, the physical community, without any technology. So the community will help us to survive, will help us to live, but also the community will help us to understand how to avoid this bias using and building the technology. So living in these two words, there is this common circle, which is extremely important for us. These emotions that technology, in my personal opinion, maybe not, I don't want to say will never understand, but for a very long, long time will not understand. That's my hope. That's
Kinga,
my hope.
thank you so
That's
much,
not
especially that we are also talking about building the community, right? And having this common support, having the values that we share together and the sounding board that we go to for these life important conversations. Thanks so much. Karol, and your short answer. How does it look in your case?
Okay, I think I haven't found the golden recipe yet, but no, I mean, I think that the current world's connectivity is both blessing and curse, because on one hand side, it enables us to work in different environments. It's helping women as well, because once we started working from home, it helps to continue working. But on the other hand side, it keeps us connected all the time. So, I mean, I like very much what Michelle said. I mean, the framework of having some time to learn, because, I mean, we as leaders we are expected to have this recipe, and we are expected to give an example how to live in this world. So one thing, I mean, I also use technology, for example, to block some time in my calendar for my own work, plus for learning, because we have to do it constantly. The other thing is prioritization. I mean, during COVID time, I mean, everything went crazy. We had calls like 20 hours per day. And at some point, I realized that it's going nowhere, and I have to prioritize. And then I realized that it's not really necessary to have this meeting at 7 p.m. because if it's not really a burning matter, it can wait until tomorrow. And this is something that's I started doing at some point, and as well encouraging my team to do as well, because otherwise, with the number of requests, communications coming, we can stay connected and stay working all the time alone. And we need to have a balance, because from my perspective, we should not be talking about work-life balance, but rather like rest and work, because we have to work, and then we need to rest. And if again, in case of women, if, for example, somebody is working, I don't know, even 6 hours a day, but then comes home and has to take care of the home for the next 6-8 hours, is it a good work-life balance? From the point of view of definition, yes, but then the woman in question is like working 14-16 hours a day. So we need to have a rest, and we need to have a time in which we work. It's difficult, but prioritization and blocking time for your own development is critical.
And we could continue this discussion forever. Mm-hmm. I really hope that each of us, the women who are with us today, either this morning or this afternoon or this evening, have got also the moments that they could reflect and sit on. Thank you so much for all of your reflections, for the community context and the values that we share, for the constant learner and curiosity coming from this discussion, and focus and having a time of the integration between the life and work. Thank you so much, dear jury members, and thank you for being the advocates of equality, also for the equal pay. Kinga, all the best with your health, and to any of you. Thanks a lot, and I give the voice to studio.
Gosia, that was a really great panel. And, I have one reflection. How, engaged and devoted our jury members are. Sure. Kinga case and Sofro shows us, and show also to you, how people are into our mission, into what we do, what we believe. And so, Gosia, thank you for this panel. Now it's time for the panel discussion with my guests, and the discussion will be the power of connection, strong women in IT perspective. So now is the time to pass the mic to our strong women in IT, women who were presented or will be presented in this report. So let's start with Sylwia Bilska, Managing Director at Edenred. Hello, Sylwia. Katarzyna Józik, CEO at Smartly. Hello, Kasia.
Hello.
And Natalia Melniciuc, IT Delivery Manager at Orange Moldova.
Hello.
Thank you, ladies, for being with us, for finding time to join us. And I will start with a really simple question, but maybe it won't be so simple when you will have to answer it. So what was your path to becoming a strong woman in IT? And how was your journey changed afterwards? And Natalia, maybe I will start with you. Can you tell us if your life changed after you started being a strong woman in IT?
Thank you, Anita, for this question. Indeed, it changed my life, because I discovered about this community just after my maternity leave. And I think, as any woman who just gave a birth for a child, I was feeling so strong, powerful, and I was really waiting for the new opportunities to grow. but I was really blocked. I didn't know from where to start. And then this community, Strong Women in IT, they sparked my curiosity. And when I was reading the report, and I was reading the brilliant profiles of all these women that are so deserved to this profession and have this attitude and love to the IT, I get really inspired. And I had just one thought in mind: how can I become part of your world? So I decided to nominate myself, and discovering that I have become the strong woman in IT really boosted my confidence. I was able to connect with my peers, with amazing women all over the world. I had brilliant one-to-one sessions, and women were sharing their journey and giving me the insights. And this really helped me to take my next career step. And if I will say what was my main lesson after Strong Women in IT, I would say that do not wait for nominations sometimes, and nominate yourself, because you should believe in your potential. And when you are driven by your professionalism, by your integrity, by your values, you should never say no to your development.
Absolutely. When we were designing the way how to become a strong woman in IT, we had in mind that some women will be afraid of nominating themselves, about joining simply the community. So there are two options: to join by simply nominating yourself, or being nominated. So each option is great. This year we had more than 400 women who were nominated. So that's super cool and super inspiring. 231 will be with this title. But Kasia, how was your journey? How it all started? How are you going?
Yeah, I have to say that my earlier nomination came to me as a surprise and a kind of recognition of longer path, because years ago, I thought I would stay in the marketing and product development area, while during the years or over years, I noticed that these areas became dominated by the technology. Then I moved to the finance, and within finance, of course, fintech became a disruptor. So once there is something you can change, and you have this, you feel empowered, and you see you can really impact what is going on in the world. In starting from smaller things, of course, step by step, but you see that you can do meaningful changes. Really, for me, I felt like duck to the water, really. So I was recognized. It was really, I appreciated that this became part of me. And after the nomination, of course, I stay myself, so I still do meeting notes are in handwritten notes, despite having so many opportunities to digitalize this process. But I expanded my network, powerful network, really strongly. It is a big plus, because I can get inspired and talk to people to see what are the newest trends in specific areas or in the different parts of technology. And also I got very interesting business development opportunities just to help my company grow. So it was very, very positive. There were some minuses as well, because of course the recognition allowed me to strengthen my personal brand, which ended up with a number of offers and contacts from different people wanting to make a cooperation. But in general, I felt obliged also to lead more responsibly, motivating people, inspiring, and underlining that you don't need to think that you are IT person at the very beginning, but this is the world you have to consider, because it's fantastic.
Super. And that's great that the new business opportunity were also open for you thanks to this title. Now I will pass the question to Sylwia, because you might not know, but when was there just an idea of Strong Women in IT? When I was walking on the market, meeting with different leaders, I met with Sylwia and told her, Sylwia, I'm going to create Strong Women in IT, a project that will promote women. What do you think? Sylwia, do you remember this moment?
of course, and that was years ago. And I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud of the community you build. And I think this is extremely inspiring to see how many women are working in IT and how many women could be an inspiration for the future generation. So I'm super proud of you, and I'm super happy to see how it grows and growing. So absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, after this webinar, 700 women will be holding this title globally. But I have a couple of questions connected with how you perceive the industry right now, because in our reports, I will cite right now, one of the biggest advantage of working in IT for women from startups a real impact on solving society social global problems. And this is 61% women from startups believe that this is the biggest advantage. On the other hand, 45% women from corporation says that shaping reality and the future with using of technology is the key here. Why do you think this number are so high? And if you could relate to yourself, how do you see it? Kasia, can you start?
Yeah, of course. Actually, I'm not surprised by these results because today I see that the power of women really increases. So what I believe is that they really want to drive the change rather than being carried with the change made by somebody else. So I think they discover and use technology as an opportunity to make an impact. So I think this is the key, and this is also what drives me, to be honest, because I want to have impact. I think also, we don't have men or male characteristics that would be interesting to see, but I think that women also have more intelligence, emotional intelligence, and are more sensitive to societal topics and longer term impact than men. Of course, it can be debatable, but there were some research on that in the past. So I believe women just want to have positive impact on how the world develops. And having so strong tool like technology, they really matter, yes?
Yeah. Natalia, how this is in your case? When you think about the advantages of being in IT industry, what is for you the most important part of being in this industry?
Well, I think IT gives us a lot of tools and instruments to change the world. But for me, the most important to have real impact is clearly to define your mission, because I need to know what is my real value for my client, for my team, for my society. And when you have this purpose-driven job, then indeed you can find additional resources, additional motivation, and you are part of the solution for all society problems. And I think that women are specifically more purpose-driven because we are driven to create the world that is safe, peaceful. We want trustful, long-term relationships, and we really bring the empathical approach to this digital society.
Sylvia, do you think that with your solution, with your technology, you are changing and shaping the world? Do you think that, do you agree with the statements? Because as when I look at you, I look at women from corporation. Do you feel this impact?
Oh, definitely. Big time. I mean, there are a few aspects. First of all, why we're choosing not only women, but men IT. IT is the place when you solve things, when you solve the problems, when you shape things, and then when you serve society and you bring added value. That's the core of IT. And it's changing so quickly, and the pace is so fast that actually you enjoy that because the end state is the added value. That's in a, I would say, good way, IT driven company. That's the way. And when you think about women, this is kind of part of our nature. So we like good, we like to take care, we like to create, we like to live better things, and we find them. So actually, I think this is perfectly connected with basically our foundation. And And I think what is the most important, if you want to have more women in IT, you just need to show them why you are here. So we are part of the big corporation Edenred. And in Poland, we have a mission of creating a great lunch break for every employee in Poland. And this is deeply connected with the technology because we are in a fintech and we are in a digital payment and in fintech. So we are trying to find the best technology to encourage all employers and employees to use it every day. And actually, this is connected with the well-being, this is connected with the nutrition, but also with connecting people around the table. So do I really believe that IT and technology could serve the higher purpose? Yes, definitely. And I think we are a great example of that. So
soon you will have the chance to download the report. And what this report tells us that on one hand, as you mentioned, we love the technology, we love to shape the world, but on the other hand, we are tired of pace of the technology, that it's changing so fast that we need to keep up with newest launches of the product, etc. But still, we ask you one question, and this question was, what is the most important thing for you to grow personally, as you as a human, you as a woman, you as a leader? And what is really interesting is for women from startup, they pointed that professional networking, like 40%, was the most important part for personal growth, while for women from corporation, expanding competences, so learning new things, was equally important for women from corporation. And my question is, where do you see yourself in this? Do you see that right now, when you think about your career, when you think about your growth of your career and the competences, what is the most important for you? And what do you feel you need to do to grow simply? When you think about your career, Natalia, could you start? Because as a mother of a young child, definitely you have challenges, and probably you still need to find the balance between life and work.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I am fully aligned with the results of your survey. Before I was aligned, because as I am 15 years in corporates, I was always investing in my certifications and participating in international programs. But what Strong Women in IT highlighted for me, they highlighted my blind zone of not expanding my professional network. And here I have seen all the best of this. Even, for example, participating in the webinar Women for Women with Izabela from Microsoft. Her story so much resonated with me that I asked for connection, and we had a very interesting online talk about self-advocacy. And specifically because you gave me the opportunity to contribute to the article in CIO.com, my visibility as well grown. And I was contacted by another woman in IT from New Zealand, and we had a very interesting talk about the changes in work and in life in general. So I would say, after all of that happened with me, you should invest in both of them, in your competencies to have a meaningful network, but as well in network, because you need to share and you need to learn from high professional people.
Super, and that's a great story. I am so excited and grateful and happy that it's all started with the idea, and suddenly I hear that you benefit so much. Amazing. Sylvia, what is in your case? Because you are in an industry which is growing so fast. Is there something that you still need to grow when it comes to you as a leader, as a person who is running and being a country manager for Poland?
I grow through people. For me, meeting people, connecting, and in every connection is the new horizon. So I believe that listening, exchanging ideas, mentoring, being challenged by somebody is a big learning. So the growth, I believe, it's coming through meeting people and having the connection. And I think this is not contradictory to raising the competencies, but actually, even if you want to have a new competency and it's based on the certificate, what Natalia said, it's also meeting new people because I mean, there's a teacher, there's a coach. So actually, everything is around meaning and expanding your network and your circle of people you know, and you can reach out to ask for the question for the certain topic. So I strongly believe growing through people is the way to go.
Kasia, and your way to grow?
I think we are totally aligned. I'm aligned with Sylvia and Natalia. Of course, I'm a natural learner. My Gallup talent #1 is learner, so I'm knowledge, absorber. But what I see is driving my personal development is really expanding network, having opportunity to discuss topics which I believe I know, with different people, and then I recognize that there is another way of looking at what on the specific topic, yes, which may be developing, inspirational, and really adds value. So I'm fully on the same page. I also think what is needed more, and that is very probably interesting, is that once we are, fed with lots of information every day, and we have interactions with people, what we may miss is time to digest all of it. Yes, because you digest information, different points of view, you're not inspired, but what to do with that? You need to have a zone in which you will digest and then think about how you can transform all of this into something which adds value. So it's not just personal development that I will learn and get this, but also how I will give it back in a form of something that added value. So I think it is networking, but also this personal touch.
Yes, absolutely. So, ladies, one last sentence because we need to finish, and soon, if not yet, you should receive one pager with you to show the world that you are strong women in IT. And I hope that this will allows you to find and network with so many amazing women, so many hardworking, and really needed to have in your network women. Natalia, what would you like to, one sentence, sum up the power of connection in your case?
In my case, is ability to connect to brilliant women, to learn from them, and to share with them. We are all challenging, have challenge in common, and we can share a lot.
Kasia?
I think it's getting connected with people, getting inspired, and working together on things which are important to the world. But we cannot forget that men population is our partner. It's not only women, yes, world which we create. So I would say it's very important.
Sylvia, how would you sum up the power of connection?
The power of connection is to be able to call or meet an other person, as Kasia said. I mean, it doesn't need to be women. I think we need the supporters who we can talk to. Sometimes really, and then common things, but just to take it out from our body, just say it and feel better. So to have this circle of people that we can reach out to, sometimes for great things, very important, sometimes for the really things that doesn't matter, but the conversation matters.
Wonderful. So connection is about looking for the right people and opening to discussions. Ladies, thank you so much. Natalia, Kasia, Sylvia, I'm really happy and grateful, and I cannot even express how happy I am that I have you around me. Ladies, thank you so much. We need to finish, and I need to invite Gosia to summary all the event, all the premiere of this report, because it was really dynamic and full of inspiring panelists, speeches. Gosia, wow. We did it.
Yeah, we did it. We did it. But one thing which we have to bear in mind for the next time is much better time management on our side. I think it's a lesson learned. And as we stated, quoting Michelle and your panelists, ability to reflect is also critically important. Curiosity for feedback. And I already give the feedback to ourselves, to myself, that next time, and ladies and gentlemen, we promise to you, we will take it into consideration. Anyway, I listen to these inspiring people and it makes me really touched and being proud. But what's even more important, Anita, if I look back into the last 2.5 months, all the work which was done, all of the hundreds of discussions, all of the amazing partners that we act with, just to list them, it's HP, it's UiPath, it's BNP Paribas, it's UBS and Gesell. Without them, we wouldn't be in the place where we are. But what is the most important thing in life for me in this moment, except of course from my family, friends and the health, is that we built the community that you really had a dream of, Anita, 7 years ago, almost 7 years ago. And this time it wasn't that popular. I know it by heart. My story, by the way, was nominated to this report in 2019. And I could only say huge thanks to the two women who said her story is inspiring and we want to see her there. Today, if I look back and flashback, it's like an amazing moment. These ladies bring so much of data, insights, braveness, courage, stories. And I'm so proud to be on the team, which is going to promote these stories from now on to move forward. Each of you ladies will be able to download your story thanks to the amazing work of our analytical team and UX team, Justyna Burkhardt-Sołyga and Ola Sypek, with the help of some others. Being a member of this community is the act of life. And I should only say thank you to Anita for inviting me to this journey. Thank you to amazing team members. Thank you to all of these women around me and the brave and inclusive men who are also speaking today. This is my moment in life. And being a 56 old year woman, I feel that we are doing something which really makes this world a better place to be.
And I will just add one more thing that is super important for us and for me personally, that with the partners that we have in our report, no woman need to pay for the title. No woman need to pay to be acknowledged, to be seen, to be perceived as someone who deserves the title of Strong Women in IT. So huge thanks for our partners that enable us to make this happen. Thank you for the team, Gosia. Thank you for all the things you do, all the discussions. And so let's see how the LinkedIn profiles, your LinkedIn profiles, go navy gold, and how you show the world that you are strong women in IT.
Be proud, enjoy, and take this moment forward to support the other women in need. Because this is about supporting each other, helping each other in the great moments, but especially the most difficult ones, combining the leadership with technology for the better and more inclusive world. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.